Okay, Assalamu alaikum, Masa al Khair. My name is Jamal Bahmad. I'm the head of the English department here. And I'm very pleased to welcome you to this event, which we are organizing as a Faculty of Letters and Human Sciences in collaboration with NEMAR here in Rabat. NEMAR is also part of the University of Leiden, which has honored us today with the presence of the president of the university, as well as several faculty and several also research infrastructures. So this event is a continuation of a long tradition of collaboration between our two universities. I'm very pleased that this is just a small event, but still there are bigger events coming, and one of them is a conference that is going to take, a Moroccan-Dutch conference that is taking place at the University of Leiden at the end of June this year, and hopefully next year we'll be hosting the event here at this faculty in Rabat. So you are very, very welcome to this event, and I would like also to thank the students who have shown up in great numbers to this event. Thank you so much. And please also don't forget that we have a film screening at Cinema Satyamar at 6 o'clock. It's a very beautiful documentary film about the legacy of the Dutch colonial experience in Indonesia. And we are very pleased to have director of film, Hans is here, and also Mirwan from Indonesia, who is also joining us for the screen at 6 p.m. So I hope to see you there as well. Also, later on, as last part of today's event, we will be talking a little bit about this conference taking place in June. Okay, so we'll give you more details, but also talk a little bit about what's at stake and why it's such a very important event for us. So, without much ado, I'd like to give the floor first to our Dean, Professor Leila Munir, who is Dean by interim of our faculty. She will give a speech, and then I'll give the floor to more people after that. So please, Professor Leila Munir.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد أشرف المرسلين. Let me first say just one thing. I'm really very, very happy and very proud to see all these members of English department here today. I'm really so happy. This is the first time. Many thanks to Leiden University that make happen this special event. Professor Anichi Otao, President of Leiden University's Executive Board, Professor Mark Rogers, Dean of the Faculty of Arts in Leiden University, Professor Leon Buskens, Director of NEMAR, Professor Sibyl Lames, Academic Director of Lucas, well, all other professors and ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to the Faculty of Letters and Humanities of Mohammed V University in Rabat. It is an honor to meet you today as we work towards the development of Moroccan-Dutch academic relations. These relations date back in time and have evolved with the evolution of both countries and our universities. Our relations as two peoples and the relationships between our two universities and our scholars have been a fascinating journey of collaboration and exchange. We have a shared history of human mobilities and academic exchange. The Moroccan community in the Netherlands and the Dutch community in Morocco have strengthened our relations over time. We are proud to have a partnership agreement with Leiden University and have always been pleased to work at different institutes and departments at your university. We are also proud to have the Netherlands Institute in Morocco, NEMAR, its director, Dr. Leon Buskens has been doing a tremendous job in building bridges between our two universities. Our faculty has hosted several events with NEMAR and Leiden University almost every year over the past decade. Our professors from the departments of English and History, to mention just two, have been involved in research and different forms of collaboration with their colleagues in Leiden. We are proud of this and stand ready to boost these relations for the good and the research community and students. I'm pleased to be with you as we discuss the next International Morocco-Dutch conference to be held at Leiden University on 24 and 25 June this year. This conference is a long tradition that we need to maintain and make stronger and more impactful. Our faculty is ready to host the next edition of the conference. The conference and our ongoing collaboration with Leiden University are opportunities to promote a better understanding between cultures and countries in a complex, constantly changing world. The values of mutual understanding and the promotion of tolerance and diversity are indispensable for a peaceful existence and prosperity of all. As universities, it is our duty to continue working towards this goal. We will create more research networks and boost the existing ones to better connect Moroccan scholars with Dutch and other international counterparts. The topic of migration is not only a key issue in our societies today, but also an important area of research that can help understand our globalized world and help promote the values of openness and tolerance. We are ready to collaborate more on this topic. We are also ready to exchange expertise and share best practices in making the humanities a more attractive field for students today and in the future. The humanities are essential for better citizenship and mutual understanding. Cultural diplomacy, let's call it also soft diplomacy, plays a key role in peace building and cultural exchange beyond borders. In recent years, the government of Morocco has invested in museums, architectural restoration, and the creative and cultural identities. As the cultural capital of Morocco, Rabat has been transformed into a hub for the arts and creativity. Our faculty, Neymar, Lucas, and Leiden University have a golden opportunity to encourage research and collaboration in this regard. We appreciate the research that Lucas has done with colleagues at our institution and other schools in Rabat. We look forward to developing the creative aspect of doing the humanities by connecting the arts to society and socio-economic development. Strengthening our relations also goes through benefiting from our country's experiences in terms of decolonization. Just like Morocco was colonized by France and Spain, Indonesia was occupied by the Netherlands. Colonization was not just a historical moment, but also a living collective and cultural memory. The work of decolonization is still unfinished, and scholars and cultural actors have a big role to play in articulating cultural memory and giving a voice to the people in both Europe and its former colonies. Indonesia and Morocco have come a long way. So have the Netherlands, France, and Spain. But we must maintain strong academic and cultural collaboration to allow the arts to make the world of decolonization peaceful and beneficial to all people in our world today. The film that will be screened at Salle 7e art at 6 p.m. today is testament to the work that has been done on colonial memory and the current debates about diversity, migration, and social change. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you again to our faculty and this historic auditorium, and wish you a productive session discussing the upcoming Moroccan-Dutch conference in Leiden. I also wish you a happy film screening later. Thank you so much for being present.
Okay, thank you very much, Dean Leila Munir. So I'll give the floor now to our next speaker, who is Professor Anitia Otu, President of Leiden University in Netherlands.
Well, I'm also impressed by the audience and seeing you all here together, and I'm very proud and honored that I can speak to you today and visit your beautiful university. Thank you so much. Dear Professor Munir, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here in Rabat, and thank you, of course, Nimar, for the kind invitation. When I started as a president of Leiden University, I made myself a promise. I resolved to visit all 4 of our university institutions of the university abroad. I have since then visited Jakarta in Indonesia, in Cairo in Egypt, and today I'm here in Rabat for Nimar, and I'm really pleased that I keep to my promise. And of course, there's one more to go, so I will visit, hopefully very soon, Istanbul, our 4th institute. And you might wonder, why do we have those institutes? We as Leiden University think it's very, very important to collaborate across the world with many universities, many countries, many researchers, and to have exchange of students coming to the Netherlands, but of course that our students can come to foreign countries. And that is, I think, more needed than ever, and I think I really agree with you that in these uncertain times, working together, have collaborations, a dialogue, talk to each other, listen to each other's perspectives is really what we need. And I think I've learned also today in Morocco, in Rabat, how important also your values are and how Morocco is doing that in those difficult times. And I've been learning a lot from you. And I'm also looking forward to meet even more students, and I'm lucky that you are here in such a big audience today, but also to see researchers and various other partners of Nimar. And there are quite a lot of them. So we have a busy schedules in those 2 days. And of course, we have students, researchers, other universities here, but also our Leiden Delft Erasmus partners. I'm also the president of our, what we call Alliance of 3 universities, not only Leiden University, but also Delft University and Erasmus University in Rotterdam. And we 3 together work in many, many ways for not only education, but also research in a multidisciplinary way, where we bring our expertise, our complementary expertise together, and we really believe that it will enrich not only our researchers, but also the students visiting one of 3 universities, and they meet programs of what we call in brief LDE. And of course, many other partners find the path, and that leads to NIMAR. NIMAR is really on their front door. And back home in the Netherlands, but equally from other countries in Europe, Asia, America, but also other parts of Africa. And I'm very pleased that many of you are here today. And of course, you may know that the path to NIMAR was first trodden a very long time ago. Back in 1605, when the Netherlands was the first European power to establish diplomatic relations with Morocco. And that relationship remains important every single day since then and even today. And I think the presence of NIMAR, but also our beautiful cooperation with your university, is really illustrating the importance of that relationship. This is no small part, because, to give you another example, more than 400,000 Dutch citizens with American roots, but also because the Netherlands and Morocco share a lot of interests, and also the values you have mentioned, we share, of course, also. We share interests such as trade, sustainable development, migration, security, and also, as you mentioned, culture. Culture is a very important way of collaborating, and we have seen many examples already today. Leiden University has been involved in the Dutch-American relations from the very beginning. Leiden professors, I do not know whether you know this, but Leiden professors translated diplomatic correspondence, and American scholars and envoys visited Leiden and shared their knowledge. More than 400 years ago, Leiden mathematician and Arabist Golius spent almost 2 years here in Morocco and was in contact with scholars here in Morocco. And NIMAR is a great illustration of academic interest in Arabic and Islamic worlds, and an institute in Morocco as a window to the rest of Africa. I think also many scholars already here present today are really the proof of that. And I think we see the importance of that relationship more and more. As an institute, this aligns with the ambitions of Leiden University and our collaboration within LDE to even deeper that collaboration in the sub-Sahara of Africa. But I would like to emphasize that NIMAR is not a Leiden Institute alone, but also a national one that is tasked for research and education across the Netherlands by the Dutch government. Students and institutions from all over the Netherlands, and they all here also in NIMAR and are no strangers to the institute. And it has a wide support in the Netherlands and Morocco. For example, also by collecting items and books and literature here in Rabat for Leiden libraries, it fulfills an important role as an access to knowledge, as a knowledge center about Morocco. But there's more than anything. NIMAR is a safe and neutral place for connecting and meeting others. I don't know, maybe you will visit NIMAR once, or if you've already done that. Of course, there are excellent facilities, mean that visiting students, PhD candidates and research from all over the world come here to NIMAR and therefore also to Rabat to talk about many topics, and many different disciplinary backgrounds feel comfortable here at NIMAR. NIMAR offers you support, both practical but also on a substantive nature, and it's a perfect place for social dialogue and inclusion. And as I said, that's more important than ever. It's a wide network that includes both the intellectual elite, but also the younger generation, and if I'm looking to you, that is more than true. And that dialogue and inclusion is what we desperately need today. If you ask me, universities have a more broader responsibility, a prominent role to play in an international relation. I call it myself the academic diplomacy, and I think you're also referring to that. How important, or which role universities, and therefore also our students, our researchers, our teachers, all of you, I think, can play a role in that respect. because we can show the world how we can have a conversation based on facts and the right values, and how we can work together even if we come from different disciplines, different parts of the world, with different ideas, but where we have, with respect of each other, have a decent dialogue. And our institutes are the outpost of this, quite literally. Our position as an academic institution makes it eminently suited to conduct this diplomacy through knowledge and through teaching. Our neutral academic practice based on knowledge and facts can be a crucial factor in improving international relations. The collaboration between NIMAR and your beautiful university spans almost 40 years, and we value this immensely. We are based on the same values, with the same academic ambitions, and I think we can even do more for the future. International relations have long ceased to turn from north to south, but I think increasingly, and that's also what our research shows in our collaborations, increasingly through the south to south cooperation. We are seeing wonderful examples of it, and we had already many nice representations today where we show how we can work together, and this is during this visit of Rabat become more and more important. And I think also NIMAR can play a crucial role here as a hub for the rest of Africa and the rest of the world, because we have Indonesia, but also collaboration with Japan. In that sense, port cities is one of the examples we have heard today where this is an illustration of. But also I think the film, I'm looking forward to it, is another example of how we can mirror ourselves to the world and learn from each other's experience in a good way. And learn from history, but also the mistakes we made, and how we do that for the future in another way. So I'm really looking forward to that. But not only the collaboration on countries or regions, it's also a collaboration on different disciplines, what I would call the multidisciplinary approach. And this will be increasingly more important, not only to us, to NIMAR, but I think also in international research, where we are talking today. Studying and collaborating across disciplines brings us a step further in addressing global challenges and resolving those global problems. If you look at topics like climate, biodiversity, water, migration, law, sustainable food production, urban planning, human behavior, all examples where we work together here in Rabat and together with Morocco, I think if we do that in a multidisciplinary way, we will find better understanding of the issues, the complex issues, but also trying to find other and quicker solutions we really, really need. So to view and study problems and their causes in this context, you cannot do without this multidisciplinary knowledge. And I really believe that your generation, your younger generation, is really leading the way for that, because you understand what is on your shoulders and how we need to proceed to find those solutions. And this brings me to my final point. University collaboration brings us together, as we see here, but it also brings together different parts of the world. And I really believe in that the importance of that type of collaboration is the only way forward. The world of students and young people, but also policymakers, academics, entrepreneurs, people around the world, they can take this example and hopefully lead the way to a more peaceful world. The world of academia, as I mentioned, is a world without any borders, and that is how it should be. I thank you so much for your kind invitation, your beautiful university, the collaboration, but also to see you all here. This gives me hope, and I hope that we can really work even more together to bring a better world. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, President Otto. Our next speaker is Professor Sibyl Lamis. who is Professor of New Media and Digital Cultures. Yana, do you want to go first? Okay. Oh, you are going together. Okay, so Yana, Professor Sibyl Lamis, and then Yana Hohen, who are both like working at the University of Leiden. So Professor Lamis is a professor of New Media and Digital Cultures, but also the academic director of Lucas, okay, the Center for Arts in Society. And Yana Howen is here in Morocco for this semester, working on a project about migration and cinema. But it's a very interesting form of migration she's working on. So I give you the floor, both of you next. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here all.
Yes, hello. Welcome to.
Yeah, we thought, but we had a PowerPoint presentation. Is it there? Okay. Because we both work for the same institute, we thought it would be good to present together.
Together, yes.
And we both will do that first. We will talk. Shall I just start a bit?
Yeah, I'll try to find
We will first start a bit with what our institute is about, and then about how our research is connected to NIMAR. And then we will go into what you call the conference. We called it the colloque still. But there's no image, of course.
Almost there?
Almost there. It's coming.
You can also see it.
Well, there it is.
There it is.
It's also down at your feet if it's easier to look at.
Ah, cool.
Okay, great. Yeah. So, Lucas.
Yes, Lucas. Well, let me start by introducing our institute a little bit, and as Professor Lammert said, after that we'll talk a little bit about what we've been doing here in Rabat and what we're trying to research here as well. So Lucas is an institute that is embedded in the Faculty of Humanities of Leiden University. It comprises 3 areas of study, namely art and art history as the first one. Secondly, media studies, where we study film, photography, but also new media, journalism. And the third one is literature and languages. We study all these areas in a diachronic way, you could say. We try to look at all periods of time, from the classical period all the way to this contemporary age of new media. And we also work in a very interdisciplinary way because we also have research clusters around certain themes. I am, for instance, the coordinator of a migration-themed research cluster. And I think a good example of such interdisciplinary collaboration is that a few years ago I was researching cinematic stories by Syrian refugees. And one of my colleagues from the classics department, he was writing about old Greek text, also about Syrian migrants, although they were not called Syrians. But we were actually studying the same kinds of groups, but with thousands of years between them. So how did we end up here in Rabat, in Morocco? Well, that is through NIMAR. We've been setting up collaborations with NIMAR, but also through NIMAR, I must say, in the last few years. I think an important starting point was 2 years ago when we came to Rabat with a group of scholars from Lucas, all people who are interested in Morocco, but also North Africa, or Africa in general, and the MENA region. Well, Leon Buskens, I have to say, I'm a film scholar, so I will say this in cinematic terms, but he's a bit of a superhero,
Yeah.
a bit of a Spider-Man in a very large web. He knows everybody everywhere, and he really relates people and in a very knowledge-producing way. And he introduced us here at the university. We met a lot of scholars. We also visited a lot of museums, galleries, cultural institutions. Because we came here with the Faculty of Archaeology, we also went to a lot of archaeological sites, met a lot of experts. Now, all these meetings resulted in, well, I must say, a lot of projects that we've already concluded, but many things are still starting up or are planned in the future. Well, Sibyl has done a workshop here that was also the result of this trip, and she will tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah. And yeah, we were told to be brief because we could talk for an hour about all the things we did and want to do. So we just wanted to highlight one thing we did not that long ago. This autumn, actually as a team, also teaming up with archaeology and also with people from NIMAR and with the Ministry of Culture through Monsieur Professor Krombi, and with Noor Resham from NIMAR to be precise as well. We did a workshop about heritage, which is maybe not always appreciated by the people living around that heritage. It was a workshop in Salé about and we used Minecraft with pupils from a secondary school, also with the help of a Kiem grant from Leiden. We did a Minecraft workshop to build things again and to talk about the history and what heritage meant to those pupils. Where is is it here? Yeah. So here are some impressions for what we did. We did anthropological research, so it was at the same time impact as us doing research on how do those youngsters play and how does play and heritage make them think differently about their environment. And that's a project actually which we really enjoyed doing, and it's a process of things we've been doing more, and it also resulted in an award, not only this project but also other things, which means that we will come back because we have 6 years of doing research on what we call unloved heritage and using playful tactics, strategies and research methods to make heritage loved and appreciated by local communities, and building a toolbox which is not only important for the Netherlands or Morocco, but can be used in different heritage spots all over the world to think differently and to appreciate and be engaged with local heritage. So that's just an example of what we are doing. And then also you just started with your research fellowship.
Yes, that's something else that came out of the meeting between NIMAR and Lucas, is a fellowship for me. I just started, and I'm interested in film and migration, but migration is very often approached as something that involves mobility, moving from one place to the next. But migration often also involves moments in which there is no mobility at all, when people get stranded, for instance, or when they're staying behind, when family members are moving away but they stay behind, or, a migration story can also be a story of not going away, of choosing to stay. So that is why my project is called Stories of Staying. And I'm interested in the stories that are told in Morocco by way of film and video, by way of moving images. I will focus particularly, but not solely, because the stories of staying are so heterogeneous, but a very important community for me are the migrant communities here with sub-Saharan Africans who use film technology and video technology as a way of placemaking, of making communities here in Morocco. Yeah, for me, being here with the help of NIMAR is very important, because I'm not an expert in Moroccan cinema at all. I don't know anything yet. I've just started. But for instance, Professor Jamal Bahmed is I'm very happy to have met him. I have his book here. It's really important. Have you read it? You should. It's a really good book. And NIMAR also helps me to set up collaborations here with important film festivals and galleries. And I'm also trying now to collaborate in the Netherlands with film festivals that are interested in screening Moroccan shorts in the Netherlands. In Leiden we have a very interesting short film festival, and I hope they will perhaps make a film program. They've also been thinking about maybe also doing it online, so maybe in a couple of months when we have the research colloque, I can also open it up to you, to the students. That would be really great. So we're working on that, because I would also really like to hear what you know about these stories, and it would be great to talk about that.
Yeah. So as you may have noticed, we started with the past and we're moving slowly into the future. There are also 2 other projects we wanted to mention which came out of a collaboration with NIMAR. One is there's a big European network of universities, and they have a heritage network as well, and Leiden is in the lead when it comes to the global network workshops which are organized, and I'm one of the persons involved in that. So in 2025 we're going to have a workshop with Nimar for African colleagues as well, to talk about heritage and how that can also be different depending on your culture and situation, and also maybe things like poverty and things like that. And a bit more into the future even, I've been in contact with Professor LEIDEN Buskens to organize a study exchange with Hogeschool, so that's the sort of polytech, so it's not university but more practical based, on gaming culture and creative media and gaming technologies, which will be a cooperation between Lucas, Nimar and the Hogeschool Rotterdam. And then a bit less into the future again, you know, it's like a good novel.
Suspense and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we're planning a colloque in Leiden, a conference in June, which should really be an exchange between the Netherlands, but should also hopefully involve many scholars from Morocco and the MENA region in Africa. Yeah, I said we are organizing it, but actually it will be not just Lucas, but the entire university, and ideally also more universities in the Netherlands, as well as universities in Morocco. So really a collaborative conference, which we also want to involve societal stakeholders in, so NGOs, musea, and the like. Multidisciplinary conference, so social sciences, archaeologists, humanities scholars. We want to mix everything. And we're planning workshops now that are working towards concrete outcomes, so joint publications or more conferences, or maybe films could also be an option. We've come up with the first themes or ideas, but these are just preliminary ideas. For instance, two of my colleagues have proposed a workshop on environmental humanities, and I would like to work on mobility and migration, of course. But input from scholars is very welcome, because we want to do this together.
Yeah. That's it for us. Yeah. I hope we stayed in time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Lamis and Dr. Howen. We will take some questions, but I think we should take them at the end, once we have heard all the presentations that we have, because we started a bit late. So for the sake of time, I'll just give the floor, immediately to Dr. Nadia Boras, who is a professor of history at the University of Leiden. And I think when we met last June, you were chair in the department as well. So Nadia Boras is a specialist in the field of migration studies and history from a historical perspective.
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon. Always a pleasure to be here. We had an informal agreement that I would come to your university and give a guest lecture. Unfortunately, we didn't have a chance to organize that, but hopefully we can do that in the near future. And I'm very excited to give you some ideas, some insight in the work that I do, but also the work that we can collaborate on together. It's already late, so I brought some images for you, just to give you an impression. I'm just going to pause a little bit and show you some more images. So these are Moroccans, and you can see that this is obviously in the past, but what might surprise you is that these pictures were taken in Amsterdam. In Amsterdam in 1906. So as other international cities in Europe, Amsterdam had its own exhibition, colonial exhibition if you will, in which they showed villages from abroad. So this, what you see here are pictures of the Moroccan village, the white village. Obviously, the Netherlands and Morocco don't have a colonial shared past, but included in the exhibition were also Indonesian village, Surinamese village, but the Dutch public in particular the Amsterdam Dutch public, was introduced also to the Moroccan village. And so these Moroccans that you see here on the pictures, they were brought from Morocco to the Netherlands to participate in this exhibition. So we can talk about ethics and all of that, but for me this is just a way to show you that Amsterdam is familiar with Moroccans, and very early in the 20th century. But these were visitors. They passed through Amsterdam. Obviously, my work focuses... Oh, this is a different picture, because when we talk about the presence of Moroccans in the Netherlands, we automatically think about migration and guest worker migration, labor migration, post-war migration. So, and this was permanent settlement, right? Compared to those who visited Amsterdam just on a monthly basis. So here you can see pictures where the then Queen of the Netherlands, Koningin Juliana, she visited a church, in fact, a church where she met also with local Moroccan families. And here she's having tea with one of the first Moroccans in the city of Amsterdam. And I also find these pictures very touching, especially the one beneath where, against all protocols, of course, but this Moroccan man was so impressed by the presence and by meeting the queen that he gave her a kiss. So migration is a very important topic, not only for Leiden University and NIMAR, but also in our collaboration with your university. And when I talk about Moroccan migration, we obviously deal with many, many topics. We talk about guest worker migration, male-dominated migration, but also family migration, where we see that the Moroccan community in the Netherlands changes over time. There is a gender balance, there is intergenerational development. So that is a topic that we discuss. It's also one of the courses that I teach at the history department in Leiden University. But also a topic of transnationalism. So how Moroccan communities in the diaspora, how they maintain and sustain ties with the home country. And what role both governments, both the Moroccan government and the Dutch government, played in sustaining these lasting ties. So that is also a very important topic, as well as integration. So we're dealing with a community in the Netherlands, which is the second largest immigrant group in the Netherlands. So over 420,000 Moroccans live in the Netherlands, and we're already at the 4th generation. So when studying the Moroccan community, we obviously do that from a historical perspective to take into consideration the changes over time, but also the changes in terms of gender, changes in terms of class, and of course, changes in terms of generation. Another course that I teach is the history of Morocco. And I'm very proud that because NIMAR has been part of Leiden University since 2016, we are the only university in the Netherlands that teaches the history of Morocco on a structural basis. And that is because we have NIMAR that we can do so. The history of Morocco, I'm one of the co-authors, but I'm mostly depending on the work that Herman Opdijn and Paulo de Mas did. And I want to mention this particular work because Herman Opdijn, Paulo de Mas, together with Professor Kaddouri, they laid the foundation of the collaboration between NIMAR and University-MOHAMMED V. So this is very important, and I think it shows that our connections go very deep. So I'm affiliated to NIMAR. So apart from the courses that I teach, we also try to benefit from NIMAR and organize, for example, summer schools at NIMAR. So last May, we organized the summer school at NIMAR together with my colleague, Professor Katja Antunes. And this was a very huge project, in fact, a very intensive summer school, a very packed summer school. But what was most important about this summer school is that it included PhD students not only from the Netherlands, but from all countries around the Mediterranean, including Moroccan PhDs. So we try to organize this summer school to make sure that Dutch and international PhD candidates, that they meet Moroccan PhD students and they collaborate on the future work perhaps, but also they get to know each other and learn from each other. This was a summer school that worked, for example, on migration and trafficking, conflict and institutions, travelers, so also from a historical perspective, culture and religion, of course, identities, memory and heritage. So many topics were discussed during this summer school, which took a week at NIMAR. But at the same time, we also work together with local partners, so local NGOs, local artists, to prepare at the end of the summer school end projects and presentations in terms of public history. So we're not only interested in academic work, but also how we can valorize, if you will, how we can include local communities, local artists, in our academic world as well. And this was, I have to say, a very successful summer school. So in the future, we might organize other summer schools. So lectures, guest lectures, presentations. Of course, we have the two semesters where students from the Netherlands, from all types of universities come to NIMAR, but we also try to make sure that international PhD students and Dutch PhD students, that they come to NIMAR to immerse themselves in Moroccan culture, in an African society as well, and work together on that basis, on the basis of equality. I think that's very important, that what we teach, what we offer at NIMAR is not, we want you to bring your knowledge, but we want you also to exchange knowledge. So we find it equally important what our Moroccan counterparts can offer us. So we're very interested in doing so. So just to give you an impression of the history department, and more specifically the department that I work in, socio and economic history, our master track we have actually 3 tracks, and I'm going to focus only on cities, migration, and global interdependence, and the governments of migration and diversity, where my colleague, Professor Marloes Grover, is one of the key professors. CMGI, we had some difficulties with the name, and we're in the process of changing the name of this master, because we think we're living in different times, we're living in challenging times as well, and we need to have a catching title that expresses all the key themes that we want to focus on in our research, but also in our teaching. So we decided to change the name into the history of inequality. And that includes institutions and agency. Well, I'm not going to talk about all these topics. You can read them yourself. But what is important for us is that we deal with these topics from an intersectional perspective, a multidisciplinary perspective, and focus on specific factors that are important and are visible in each of the topics that we teach on. Some of the key questions that we try to address, perhaps not answer, but academia is not about finding answers, but it's about asking questions. So how did people's life in the past change? What is the impact of urbanization? I think urbanization is very important in terms of our collaboration with Moroccan universities and your university in particular. Of course, migration and globalization is important, but also patterns of gender, slavery, and inequality. And I think we can find common grounds and future collaboration on those specific topics. And then the subtrack, governance of migration and diversity, which I teach in as well. This is a master program. LDA has been mentioned already. Within this master track, we have researchers, teachers, experts from Leiden University, Delft University, and Erasmus University in Rotterdam. So our students really benefit from all these different types of institutions, but at the same time have the ability or the opportunity to come to NIMAR and discuss the governance of migration and diversity, which is a topic that is very important for Moroccan, for Morocco, Moroccan society as well. As you know, Moroccan is not only a country of emigration, which is more my core business, but Morocco has become a country of immigration as well, and has to deal with challenging issues on migration and how to deal with diversity in terms of cultural diversity, religious diversity, and diversity in race. I think, just to be very short, I think these are excellent topics that we can collaborate on in the future, and this is something that we will also discuss during the colloquium that we will organize in June at the Leiden University. But what is important, as has been stressed already by the previous speakers, is that this collaboration between NIMAR and Leiden University and University of Mohammed V is that it's historic. So it's been going on for almost 4 decades, and I think this is very enriching, and I think it's a unique selling point of Leiden University that, as far as I'm concerned, NIMAR is one of the show ponies, if you will, of this collaboration. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Boras. Because before I give the floor to our last speaker today, I just like to mention and acknowledge the presence of two very important people here, two important scholars, but also two founding fathers of this ongoing partnership and very productive relationship between our two universities. I'd like to acknowledge Professor Abdelmajid Al-Qaddouri, sitting over there. And one seat for him, I'd like also to acknowledge, a scholar like Asya bin Adada. They have been at it since 1986, okay, and they are still strong and going, so we're always very pleased, to be inspired by their work, but also to keep this strong. And it's not just a partnership, but actually it's like a beautiful relationship. Remember Casablanca, the movie? It's a very beautiful relationship that we have with Leiden. I'm very pleased to see it ongoing, and also like young scholars joining the ranks all the time. So we're going actually to cut out like the last item on the of this event, because it's all Professor Lamis and Professor Howen already mentioned the conference. So we'll have a workshop about it later. So I'd like to say that we have just one more speaker, and it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Yanko Toriyama from the University of Kyoto in Japan, who is going to address us on the multilateral cooperation between Japan and NIMAR, Lucas, and Moroccan colleagues. And then we'll take some questions from the floor. So thank you.
Okay. So thank you. One more speaker from this panel, right? So how are you? Thank you very much. So my name is Junko Toriyama. I'm not coming from Netherlands, and I'm not coming from here. So what I'm doing, I am like an orbit from this NIMAR, maybe, from NIMAR perspective, but who knows, maybe my speech may change your life. Maybe, I don't know. And so I am a cultural anthropologist by training, but I do gender studies. I've been working on Egypt for 20 years, and 2022, I finally decided maybe I need to see other part of the Middle East. Especially I started to notice last few years, especially after 2011, many of my students started to go to Morocco to learn Arabic. Learning Arabic in Morocco? That's a land where they speak a very weird Arabic, right? I'm very sorry, but that was the perception as a scholar of this Mashriq, and then I'm coming from this studying of Egypt. But I had to come see what's happening. So that's what had happened for me in 2022. I had 1 year experience. And so if I may, I am here and I am willing to work with you. So anyone who has any idea, any interest for Japan or East Asia, I think you're in the right faculty, right? Speaking English. And so please, I'm always looking for someone who is willing to work with me. But let me just focus on my experience in Nimar for the next 3 minutes. Because Nimar, by accident, happened to be one of the best spots I ever been. You know, if as a researcher, I'm new to the field, and things started to move forward, I like to say that, oh, it's serendipity. Oh, yeah, it's my researcher's instinct. I know how to communicate with people. But that's probably a lie. There is a secret when the research goes well, and Nimar was, for me, the secret. So I just want to make 3 points very quickly. First was a research base. This is what I was looking for. So of course, I could have gone to many different institutions in the world to do my sabbatical, but I wanted to stay close to the Middle East because I'm in love with the Middle East, and that's why I'm teaching this Middle Eastern gender studies, Middle Eastern anthropology. And so I came to Nimar hoping that they will provide me some kind of contacts as a research base. Well, I'm very glad that I went to Nimar. The Nimar was a perfect spot for me to provide all those research contacts, including one example is Ms. Yasmina Naji, the founder of Cult Art Center. So, as I said in the beginning, I had no idea what to expect, but I found very strong, this feminist in Morocco that all Japanese needs to learn from. So what I did is to take her to Japan just for 1-2 weeks, and then we got together with Egyptian feminists, and actually one of the prominent Japanese paper picked us up to talking as one of the cutting-edge feminist discussion, debate. That was really fantastic for me as a research base, Nimar as a research base. And another thing, of course, I wasn't really hoping too high, but Nimar to be an academic center. You know, as a researcher, you are doing the field work. At the same time, you have to build an argument. So you like to just have a dialogue, having a discussion, having exchange about what you see, what you think, and what you hear. You know that, right? You like your classmates to talk about those academic materials. So, Nimar turned out to be a fantastic place, not only for the discussion of the Middle Eastern anthropology or Middle Eastern studies in general, which, for instance, that we happen to have certain opportunities to talk under the title of Taste of Knowledge. I was bringing some Japanese scholars, and the Nimar were bringing this LEIDEN scholars, and together with other institutions elsewhere. So we get to have a great discussion. So that was also for me a fantastic thing. But what I haven't anticipated was that not only the debate in the Middle Eastern studies, Nimar offered me a wider discussion, more cutting-edge theory, I would say. Well, maybe some of you have noticed who was on the picture. So, yeah, actually came to Nimar, I found other field scholars who are doing very, very interesting researches, but I've never have been encountered if I stayed in Japan. So, if you're interested in those new fields, and you don't know what you're interested in, or you already know, but looking for a perfect partner to have a debate or a dialogue, probably Nimar can serve you as a hotspot as it did for me. And the last point, that's the end of my presentation, so just to reassure, this was just way beyond my imagination, was that Nimar as an educational institute. So I don't know how many of you are actually hoping to pursue your career in academia. Yeah? Then you have to teach. not only do the research, right? And this was something that I didn't expect that I could observe in NIMAR. By affiliated to NIMAR, I could join certain academic, the educational tours, field trips, and then I really saw how the NIMAR is educating students, basically having those students here in whole semester. That's already a strong enough thing. And as a Middle Eastern studies scholar, I always wonder, how can I make my students interested in the Middle East? How can I make my students a fan of Middle East? I mean, bringing them to encounter with the actual Morocco. Are there any better ways to let them know what it's like in Morocco? And then again, I told you, I have spent 20 years in Egypt. It didn't occur to me. I know that there is a center in Cairo, but because of this stability and safety and this energy, right now, I don't know how many of you are actually aware of it, but this energy among the youth in Morocco, this is something special. This is very unique, even in the Middle East. And you know anything about Japan? Yeah? Aging society? Declining? No, seriously, I mean, I really think that I wish we can provide a very good model for quietly dying society so that we don't get into panic and we can decease. But at the same time, I want to stimulate my students to think about the future, to stimulate their thinking, what they can achieve. I thought, my God, bringing those students to Morocco would be a wonderful way. Because youth here, I mean you, you have such a great ambition. I love that. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I was almost secretly hanging out with Professor Abu Ahmed's graduate students. But seriously, this is what I really, really admire. But unless I was affiliated to NIMAR, I wouldn't have seen. I could just be a passerby. But by staying in NIMAR and what they are offering to students coming from Netherlands, the direct contact with the Moroccan youth and the Moroccan society, it inspired me a lot. And let me tell you, I'm not that ambitious person. I'm so happy in my very comfortable couch. But this was like really the first big thing I started to envision. How can I bring my student? How can I provide a fantastic experience as NIMAR is providing to the students coming from the Netherlands? So I did it last year to bring first out the 9 Japanese students for a week, okay? Compared to 1 semester, 3 months, it's nothing. But for me, it was a huge step. So if anyone here interested in helping me bringing Japanese students or accepting Japanese students to Moroccan society, I'm so happy to talk with you and exchanging numbers and emails and WhatsApp and whatever. Instagram, maybe too much, I don't know. But so seriously, so thank you very much for being a great audience to listen to my personal experience of NIMAR and my ambition in Moroccan. Thank you very much.
Okay, shukran, Ustada Toriyama. Thank you very much. So I'd like to just, specify that the relationship between Leiden University and Mohammed V University has always and often gone through a very strong relationship between, the University of Leiden and this faculty, the Faculty of Arts, which has always opened its doors, to all these collaborations and made them possible. So in this, on this note, I'd like to thank, Dean Professor Leila Munir for hosting us today and for making, this beautiful, auditorium full of, people, but also ideas and a lot of hope. So thank you, Professor Toriyama, for closing on that. So we're supposed to have like 4 more speakers, and they're all from here, like 2 from Department of History, Professor Mortaji and Professor Tahiri, and then myself and Professor Al-Ayadi from Department of English. But for the sake of time, we decided to just, as I said before, to basically, cut out or at least like reduce the time allowed for the last panel. Okay, so I'd just like, as a kind of closing note before we take some questions from the floor, I'd like to invite Professor Saeed Al-Murtaji from Department of History to say a few words about the conference in June.
Good afternoon. I know it's too late, but I'll be short. I will talk about our activities with NIMAR, not only the upcoming colloquium. I'm really honored to have the opportunity on behalf of the Department of History and our faculty to mention some activities and aspects of the fruitful collaboration that exists between the Netherlands and Morocco, particularly in the realms of science and culture. The Netherlands and Morocco have a long history of cultural exchange, and this partnership has only grown stronger over the years through initiatives such as academic exchanges, joint research projects, and cultural events. We have been relatively able to bridge the geographical and the cultural divide that separates us. I think one of the most valuable aspects of this collaboration is the opportunity it provides for students and professors from both countries to engage with each other's cultures by immersing themselves in the customs, traditions of the other. They gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of our shared world. It's crucial for me today to highlight some activities and experiences we have organized thanks to this collaboration between our faculty and NIMAR and Leon Buskens, who is doing a lot to maintain this dynamic through organized visits to historical sites and cultural cities in Fes, Rabat, Casablanca, Qasr al-Kbir, Tangier also. We, in Morocco and in Leiden, Delft, Amsterdam, students and professors from both countries have the opportunity to immerse themselves in centuries of history and architecture. Here we have this manifestation. Moroccans and Dutch students were impressed when in the north of Morocco, for example, in a small village, Jehjouka, they attended a unique music performance, Jehjouka music, known for its centuries-old tradition of mystical music. They played and they performed with international artists such as Brian Jones, the Rolling Stones, etc. So our students of Mohammed Fifth University and from Leiden University attended to this performance, and they had the opportunity to engage with local musicians and learn about the history and the significance of their skills, and even participate to the man of skins dance, Bejloud. They were really as you can see in this picture, they were really pleased to have this opportunity. I believe that by immersing in, and interacting with local communities, students can gain first-hand insights into the customs, rituals, and social dynamics that shape Moroccan society. In the next slide, we have another highlight of our visits to the Netherlands with our students and researchers. The visits, here we have the museum, Archaeological Museum of Leiden, and then we have especially the open air, Arnhem Open Air Museum. It was like traveling back in time. That really made us feel that and experience what life was in the past. It was really amazing to see how people used to live and to work. Here we have our team group. We have the group of students from Morocco and from our partners, we're Léon Busquins, and the curators. And I want to say a big thank you to Nimar at the end for publishing my recent book titled Hidden Treasures of the Jbala Tribes. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. It's an honor to be a part of this esteemed community of researchers and the wonderful events and the project they have been curating. I hope we can maintain this and reinforce this wonderful collaboration and continue working together in the future. To conclude, I'm pleased to announce to you the upcoming publication on the relations between Morocco and the Netherlands, which promises to offer valuable insights into their historical, cultural, and economic ties. This book will be directed by Abdelmjid Al-Qaddouri, Léon Busquins, and Mohamed Saïd Al-Morteji. And thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much. We're coming to the end of this event. I'm afraid we cannot take questions from the floor. I'm very sorry about that because they're waiting for us at cinema for the film screening. So it's already past 6, so we'll be heading there directly. But before we end, I'd just like again to thank Professor Leila Munir, the Dean of the Faculty of Letters and Human Sciences, for hosting us and allowing this event today to happen. I'd like also to thank Professor Otto, for honoring us with this visit, and we hope that this relationship will be stronger and stronger. And I'd like to also thank Dean Rutgers, Mark Rutgers, and also Professor Sabir Lamis, and all speakers and colleagues, both from Leiden and from Morocco. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Yeah, good to know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the cinema to enjoy the movie, Java, I'd like to just invite everyone to a group picture outside this historic auditorium.